Hi there, very good morning. This is Gilbert here together with my producer in the studios. I've got Juliana, and thank you so much to Azrul together with me here. It's W Talk, women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace. And today we're talking to our guests in the studios. It's so nice to have Ranita Markandan, who is the managing partner, ACE Training and Consultancy, legal assistant, Lawrence Pereira and Partners. And just to let you know, we happen to be on social media platforms. Our socials on Facebook. Yes, we are on Facebook and also on TikTok. That's TRAXXfm official. And on Facebook, it is TRAXXfm. So talk to us if you have any questions to ask our guest, Ranita, in the studios. Women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace. And it's a very interesting topic, something that probably we face in our daily life, or probably you have gone through this. You never know. So you can ask questions. Well, we are open for questions. Definitely we are. Social media platform, once again, on TikTok and on Facebook, it is TRAXXfm official. And on our Facebook page, TRAXXfm. Women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace. A very good morning to you, Ranita Markandan, managing partner, once again, ACE Training and Consultancy, and also a legal assistant at Lawrence Pereira and Partners. A very good morning to you, Ranita. Hi, how are you? Yes.
Good morning, Gilbert, and good morning, Malaysia. Thank you for having me over.
Yes, thank you so much, Ranita. Ranita, just before we dive into our questions, Ranita, just tell us a little bit more. It seems like it's a very busy schedule that you always have. Managing partner for a company and then a legal assistant. So how do you juggle all this? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Perhaps I'm a lawyer by profession, and I was called to the bar in 1999. Was in practice for a while, and thereafter I took a break to become a mom, and now I'm back into the workforce. I guess I love what I do, and that is employment consulting and training, as well as civil litigation, and that keeps me going, I guess, and youthful perhaps in many other ways apart from aging.
Certainly youthful. Definitely, I should agree with you, Ranita. So it's not just two jobs, but it's more than two. Okay, so you got to be at home with the with children, and that's playing mom, and then you've managing partner and an advisor, and then a legal assistant. My goodness, that's so much to juggle around with.
I don't stand alone on this. I do believe the workforce has changed, and many women have stepped up, and amazing examples of and abilities to multitask, and they're doing a phenomenal job out there as well. Kudos to all these women as well, Keep it up.
Certainly, must agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, Ranita, let's get into our topics for today. Could you share, the key when it comes to the legal prospects, okay? The legal prospects about women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace. What are the key legal protections for women against sexual harassment in the workplace under the Malaysian law?
Okay, great. So should an incident happen, which one considers it to be sexual in nature, or makes them feel uncomfortable and has elements of sexual connotations to it, you have one of three options here. Firstly, to criminalize this action of this individual is by lodging a police report, because sexual harassment has been identified in a specific section. That's your section 509 of the penal code, that states whoever intending to insult the modesty of any person, and mind you here, any person can be that of a male or a female as well, as sexual harassment works both ways, male to female, female to male, including male to male and female to female. So when you utter any word or make any sounds or gesture or exhibit any objects intending that such words and sounds shall be heard, and it's sexual in nature, this person can be punished with imprisonment, which may extend to 5 years, fine, or both. So that is in terms of the criminal act. Now, in Malaysia, we have a new act as well, and that's your Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022, which establishes a tribunal for anti-sexual harassment, and it's known as the TAGS, where victim can seek redress. It is a comprehensive and victim-centered approach to addressing sexual harassment in Malaysia. And how do you initiate this complaint? You start this off by filling up a Form I, which is available online or at the tax office, and you need to fill up 4 copies, submit them, and pay a sum of 30 ringgit as the filing fee at the tax counter located at the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development in Putrajaya. So the tribunal comes under this ministry here.
Right.
That addresses sexual harassment. So apart from criminalizing it, apart from TAC, that's the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, you have a right to also bring it up with that of the company now, because the company has got a statutory or legal obligation to ensure that the work environment is safe, secure, and comfortable for everyone to work in. Should there be any incidents of sexual harassment, then the company is obligated to conduct some form of investigation. And this obligation arises under the Employment Act, in particular Section 81(h) of the Employment Act, which governs issues regarding misconducts of sexual nature, and wherein the sexual harassment at workplace involves the relationship between employees and that of the employer. So you've got 3 avenues here.
Ranita, just before we go on, okay, so the process of doing it, as you mentioned just now,
Sure.
But just to give our listeners a little picture here, what exactly can be categorized as a sexual harassment? I mean, have you come
Good
across
question.
to
Yes, because
any of this?
yeah, a good question, because that's the first thing we need to understand, right? Okay. So sexual harassment, what is that? The definition of sexual harassment is any unwanted conduct of a sexual nature, whether verbal, non-verbal, visual, gestural, or physical, directed at a person which is offensive or humiliating, or is a threat to his or her well-being arising out of in the course of his employment. So the first take you have to take is it's any unwanted conduct, meaning to say the victim did not invite this action or utterance or behavior. That's the first thing. Secondly, they find it's a personal perception wherein they find it to be offensive and humiliating.
Humiliating.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's right. So they are offended by it. Hence, sexual harassment takes many forms, which is verbal, non-verbal, visual, psychological, and physical. So if you may permit me to run through some of or elaborate the forms here. So if it's a verbal harassment, is where you literally say, "Come la, come F me," or whatever in those terms, right?
Right.
So that is, you are literally uttering those words, and that is a form of verbal harassment. Now, another form of verbal harassment that people tend to overlook is this: when you make jokes.
Okay.
So these days, with WhatsApp groups that are set up in every companies and so forth, sometimes we forget the presence of our colleagues who may be female, who may be offended by these jokes that are posted up. So you got to be mindful as to how you communicate with your colleagues as well.
Right.
Immaterial of the fact whether this is taking place after working hours as well, because you have a professional accountability with regards to how you conduct yourselves amongst each other.
Right.
During working hours, outside working hours, within company premises and outside company premises, because your connection or nexus with each other arises from your working relationship. Hence, paramount and important that you always conduct yourself in a professional manner. So that's verbal harassment. Now, another quick reminder, verbal harassment as well, that is not acceptable is, when you do the kissy noise, the I've been told by these gentlemen, they get the mama's attention by doing that noise. By all means, go ahead and entertain the mama, okay, and get his attention by doing that noise. However, you are not to do that with your colleagues, okay? Please, never such things. Right.
All right, there you go. Explained nicely by our guest in the studio, Ranita. Women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace. Well, probably some of us have even encountered situations like this. And if you have any questions on our socials, that's where we are. You can just post it up there, and we're probably having our guests to answer those questions. On TikTok, it is TRAXXfm Official together with Facebook, and on and on our Facebook page, it is TRAXXfm. So take note, any questions, please log it in there. Right. Thank you so much. We'll be taking a very short break here. Back for more questions with Ranita Markandan, Managing Partner, ACE Training and Consultancy, who's also a legal assistant at Lawrence Pereira and Partners. Women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. the process, besides the one that you explained to us much earlier?
Thank you, Gilbert. Okay, so firstly, if this incident happens at your workplace, you must inform management. Many times, victims stay silent for the fear of retaliation, that they do not highlight this for management's attention.
Right.
So please, I urge you, encourage and advise your good self, right, to lodge a complaint through the grievance channel. Every company should have a grievance channel. And what is a grievance? A grievance is where you feel you have been unjustly treated at the workplace, and this has now affected your ability to execute your work efficiently and so forth, right? So you should lodge or bring this to management's attention using the grievance channel. Now, the next thing is this. Who receives this complaint? This would be your HR team or your legal or compliance team that will receive this formal complaint and conduct the necessary investigation.
Right.
However, for some reasons, if you're fearful of providing your identity, right, then I am certain there is a whistleblowing channel within the organization.
Right.
Or you could nevertheless still lodge a complaint or make a formal, send out a formal email to HR or legal or compliance and ensure your identity is it's not disclosed, you know.
Ranita, sorry to cut you off here.
No
right?
worries.
That means whistleblowers. Now, is there a protection act for whistleblowers?
Indeed.
Since
Malaysia,
you brought it up,
we have a specific section which is known as the Whistleblowing Protection Act. Okay. So the Whistleblowing Protection Act provides protection to individuals in the private and public sector who report improper conducts, including sexual harassment within the organization. The protection includes immunity from civil and criminal actions and safeguards against detrimental actions like harassment or dismissal from employment, should this complaint be lodged. Now, when it comes to the Whistleblower Protection Act, this takes place, or this protection is given when you lodge a complaint with any of the enforcement agencies, such as your police, Anti-Corruption Commission, the MACC, the Road Transport Department, the Immigration Department, or any other enforcement agencies.
So the same appliances of codes will be applied here for any whistleblower.
That's right. So, however, your identity may not be kept anonymous because they need to verify the information. So they'll call you in for an appointment or meeting, and based on their discussion, thereafter they will apply this law to give you the necessary protection. So that's your Whistleblower Protection Act.
Okay. So getting back to our questions here, just diverted a little bit there.
No
Women's
worries.
rights, sexual harassment at workplace. That's what we're talking to with our guest, Ranita Markandan. And Ranita, can a victim report harassment anonymously, or must it be formal, which we put it under a category of name complaint?
Well, everyone is entitled to lodge a complaint anonymously because of the fear of retaliation. However, it has its drawbacks here, okay? The difficulty in conducting a thorough investigation, because this would hinder the ability to conduct a proper investigation, as we need the individual's identity to cross-refer or refer to the alleged with regards, when it comes to inquiring with the harasser, we need some concrete substance to pin it down against this individual and to elicit more information or evidence or facts, you see. So staying anonymous may be a little difficult in terms of
because we are getting into court cases and things like that. So
that's right.
it has to be.
See. And it's also making a allegation towards one's integrity and character when
Right.
it comes to sexual harassment. So
Okay.
it is a very serious allegation, not to be trivialized, though I understand the fears that the victim face as well. Yeah,
Okay.
because the fear of retaliation, either from the organization or from the direct boss or whomever that they are lodging this complaint against.
Okay. All right. Understand. How about are employers required to have a sexual harassment policy or internal reporting mechanism? I think this one here is for bosses lah, or employers. Yeah.
Yes, to all the employers out there, it is extremely important that you now have a sexual harassment policy. Why? Because I think we have become a lot more smarter now with the Me Too movement, the Jeffrey Epstein and the other famous producer Weinstein and
Right,
all of that.
yes.
Thereafter, they brought about the Me Too movement, and it slowly trickled into our Malaysian waters as well. Right.
Okay.
Now, to the Employment Act 1955, which is the specific act that provides minimum statutory benefits to employees and governs the conducts of the employer, has also made it mandatory that every company has to put up posters indicating or displaying their zero tolerance for any form of sexual harassment.
Right.
Right. So with these things, right, it is important that a company should have a standalone policy, because this gives the impression to the employees, stakeholders, and their third party on how serious the company is in protecting the interests of their employees. This policy also is an effective method to communicate with third parties who have a vested interest with the company on how they should engage themselves with the employees, and that the company will not hesitate to take appropriate action against the wrongdoer, you see. So hence a policy is important because it creates this awareness.
So please take note also to the employees. If you do find out that there's no harassment policy or internal reporting mechanism in the company that you are about to work, well, probably it's something that you can bring it up.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
And I think to all employers, please do take note on having this internal reporting mechanism running smoothly. That's I think very important, right?
Indeed. We
Okay.
have to ensure our staff feel safe and comfortable coming to work. Yeah.
Right, there you go. So we've got one more question here, and we'll be taking a short ID break. Ranita, what about this one here? What legal options are available if an internal investigation fails or is unfair?
Sure. Right. So we know many organizations.
Yep.
There is some element of chronism or protecting their golden goose employees.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So you employers out there, take note, please. Okay. Firstly, this individual has every right to go running to the nearest labor department, or in Bahasa referred to as JTK, which is your Jabatan Tenaga Kerja, and lodge a complaint with the DG that the company has failed to protect hers or his interests, and there's this complaint of sexual harassment that was brought to the company's attention, and they have not taken any action against that complaint. That's the first one. Second, the said affected individual or victim here has every right to lodge a police report against the harasser. Thirdly, you can always go and lodge a complaint with the Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment as well. And lastly, from an industrial employment perspective here, companies be aware your victim can construct her dismissal and lodge a claim of unfair dismissal against the company that she was exposed to sexual harassment at the workplace. And if the company has knowledge by way of a formal complaint and the company has been negligent, willfully defiant, or failed to protect the interests of the affected employee, right? This individual would be able to sustain a claim of unfair dismissal on grounds of constructive dismissal.
Right,
in
and
the industrial courts.
that's big time trouble.
Oh, yes, it is. That will, it would affect the organization's reputation should this proceed to court, and it creates a bad impression amongst the public as to the
Right.
work environment. Yes.
Okay,
I hope no
so
organization
no,
faces that,
no
right.
investigation will be treated unfair.
Yes, that's right.
Shouldn't be treated
Shouldn't
unfair.
be treated unfairly.
There you go. Explained well by Ranita Markandan, Managing Partner, ACE Training and Consultancy, Legal Assistant, Lawrence Pereira and Partners. Women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace. W Talk, that's our topic today with our guests in the studios. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. W Talk right here at TRAXXfm on your midday bus, Tuesday's edition, the 15th of July. Thank you so much to my producer, Juliana, and Azrul in the studios. We are on our socials, that's TikTok and also on YouTube, TRAXXfm Official, and on our Facebook, it is TRAXXfm. Women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace, Ranita Markandan, Managing Partner, ACE Training Consultancy, Legal Assistant, Lawrence Pereira and Partners, and our topic, as mentioned on W Talk, women's rights and sexual harassment at workplace. Now, just to round up a couple of questions here before we take it into our midday news, build up to our midday news coming up at the top of the hour. Ranita, we talked about the whistleblowers, we talked about the process, we talked about companies failing to, or probably investigations that fail and unfair to the individual. How has that been tackled or taken in consideration? This particular question here, Ranita, what legal reforms or improvements would help better protect women at workplace? Any legal reforms or improvements that a company can do, probably?
With regards to the company,
Yes.
for starters, is conducting campaigns and awareness
Right.
of what an individual should do should there be any incidents of sexual harassment. It is important that this is done at the onboarding stage itself, so that the individual knows the channel to lodge a complaint should
Okay.
there be any form of incidents of sexual harassment.
All right.
And within this training on the onboarding, they should be taught on the several and various forms of sexual harassments. And sexual harassments can take two forms. One is known as the quid pro quo incidents or methods or whatever situation. You know, the movie Disclosure, the one with Demi Moore and
Yes.
our Michael Douglas.
Douglas,
Right.
yes.
So taking opportunity based on your position in the organization, where somebody superior takes advantage of you and states that you need to provide this sexual favor in order to be retained in employment or to be given your promotion and increment. Please understand this is not a permissible conduct or behavior.
That's
And
also categorized under.
indeed, that
Oh,
is
okay.
a form of sexual harassment, because here your boss has abused his position of authority here and conducted himself in an unprofessional manner. So you must highlight this for management's attention. So I think this is very important that they are taught or told or made aware during the onboarding that every organization will not tolerate such conduct.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So, anything else that you would like to advise to women out there, or probably even an individual who report sexual harassment or had the sexual harassment,
Sure.
themselves, or who has been victimized?
Sure. Firstly, I would always like to look out for the interests of the company. And many organizations are not aware that these incidences of sexual harassments are taking place. So I do urge and encourage you, if you are facing such a situation, is to firstly highlight it and bring it for the company's attention. So that
Okay.
they can conduct the necessary investigations and take the appropriate disciplinary action therein. Secondly, should the company not respond in a positive manner towards this complaint of sexual harassment, then by all means take advantage of the tribunal that has been set up under the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022 because it is a convenient or easier way of addressing your issues of being a victim in such a scenario as well. So this tribunal it's an informal court proceedings, safe to say, wherein there will be 3 panels that will sit in for the discussion and decide if this is indeed a form of sexual harassment. They are given the authority to come up with an order or and so forth. Now, what would that order be? Sorry, let me just rephrase that. The tribunal, when handling a case, sits with a panel of 3 members that consists of the president, the deputy president, and 2 other members. And so these members are legally qualified individuals as well. Hence, they have the legal capacity to assess whatever that's produced before them to decide if this amounts to a valid sexual harassment complaint and so forth. Now, the tribunal can make various orders, including requiring the individual to issue an apology, to pay compensation or damages up to 250,000 ringgit, or to attend any form of reform programs and so forth on how to conduct themselves and so forth.
Not to be messed around with.
Indeed. And should an order be issued and there has been non-compliance by this individual, this now becomes a criminal offense under the said act, and it's punishable with a fine which can be twice the amount of the compensation sum, or imprisonment up to 2 years, or both. So the consequences is very grave. I think this is a phenomenal legislation that has that our government has now come forth with. You see,
Yeah.
Protecting one's interests. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you so much, Ranita Markandan, women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace. Wow. Okay.
Thank you.
So any of you out there who are victims, probably who probably has faced something like this. So there you go. All this explained well right here on W Talk, women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace by Ranita. Thank you so much, Ranita.
Thank you, Gilbert and team. It was a pleasure
being here with us.
Yes,
first time.
Indeed.
First time, yes. And you did it so well. Thank you so
you're
much.
You're too kind. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Stay blessed. Keep smiling.
All right, there you go. Ranita Markandan, Managing Partner, ACE Training and Consultancy, Legal Assistant, Lawrence Pereira and Partners. Women's rights, sexual harassment at workplace on W Talk. And build up to the midday news coming up in a bit. It's Gilbert here together with my producers in the studios, Juliana and Azrael. Thank you so much for being part of the show. For those of you who have logged on our socials, thank you once again. Back in a bit. Stay tuned.